Okay, students, welcome back to the Psychology of Horror. With me today is Sandra Bohn, and she has elected to watch a movie. I would say with me, we watched the same movie.
Not in the same room.
Not in the same room, but we wanted to come together and compare and contrast some of the elements that we found that they utilized to try and make the movie scary, what worked for her versus what may have worked for me, and maybe even critique the movie a little bit.
Okay.
As we just found out, you enjoyed it.
I did.
I not so much. I guess I was hoping that I would get something a little more fresh, where I felt like some of the elements were very contrived. And so I'll let you start off. What did you think of the movie?
Well, I really liked it. A friend of mine recommended it to me because she said, if you want a movie that's got jump scares but still has a plot, check out Winchester, because a lot of times the ones with the jump scares really don't have much of a plot. And then sometimes when you have too much plot, it's just kind of a little, boring, a little flat. So I was like, okay, well, that sounds cool. And so I watched it, and it's based on a true story, right?
Oh, yeah, there's an actual house.
Yes, there is.
There are shots where I think it seemed really boxed in, as if like they went to the house to get certain shots.
To use the actual rooms and everything? Yeah.
I know a lot of them were extremely just large, wide open shots, and then you get some that are almost like shoved into a corner.
Right.
And then the wood looked really authentic. It has a dark, almost moldy looking wood quality to it.
And that could be both ways. It could be that they really were shooting in the room. They could only do it that way. But it also could be that they were trying to make you feel closed in and claustrophobic, because she talks a lot about that, about keeping the spirits in the room and everything.
Right. And I'll get into that later.
But anyway, so I really liked it. I knew the story beforehand. I had read about Sarah Winchester back when I was a kid. We had this book called Strange Stories and Amazing Facts. And so she was in there, and I just thought it was so fascinating because I'm just weird like that. So when I realized what the movie was about, I was like, oh, okay, cool, I know this. And I wanted to do some more research, find out if the doctor actually stayed in the house like that, because I know they did call people in to try and get her put in a sanatorium, but it didn't work.
What's wrong going on.
So I don't know if that doctor was a real character, if he actually stayed in the house or not, but I'm going to look it up. But so I liked it because it really did have a plot. I thought it really explored what one person's insane is another person's sane kind of thing. Because then we got to that one where he was like having the dream with his wife, and he got shot, like he had before. So that was really cool.
Well, this is one of those things where it's like I found that making a movie, the reality is so much creepier and scarier. That this thing actually exists. There was a woman who spent an extravagant amount of money, fortunes of, and people just walked in, and she would be like, "I want you to build a room with a flight of stairs that goes nowhere." And somebody went, "All right."
Hey, they were getting paid. That's all they cared about.
And with all these people just constantly running around building and building, nobody, they didn't get together and go, you gotta do something.
I think some of them probably had some of the experiences too, and so they kind of went along with it. They're like, there is something going on here, so I'm just going to do what she tells me to.
I think there would have been a lot more cases. And I don't know if I know it actually exists, she did build, but did she actually in real life do it because of spirits?
Yes. Okay. Yes, she thought the house was haunted. She honestly thought that the people that her guns had killed, well, her family's guns, were there coming back to haunt her, some of them seeking for rest, and others seeking for more of a revenge type thing. So yeah, that part is totally true too.
That's cool.
So not only was she doing the rooms to try to communicate with the spirits and pass them on, but actually she also thought that the sounds of the construction would bother the evil ones. So it would kind of make them stay away more, because they're like, I can't be evil with all this noise around.
It's too much noise for me to hatch my evil plans.
Because I tell you what, when there's too much noise around me and I'm just like, okay, no.
I kind of felt like this movie was a little beneath Helen Mirren, who played Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big surprise when she came in. When I see her name, I was like, really?
I couldn't remember her name. I just recognized her face.
Yeah. There were elements that seemed... Okay, so the first act was kind of a snooze fest for me. It really took way too long to get into it.
Really?
Yeah. Just that first less than 25 minutes.
Yeah, say less than 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes. I felt like we were just kind of meandering around. I guess trying to learn as much as we could about the doctor.
Yeah, that's called backstory.
Well,
I love backstory.
There was time to create a backstory, but I was just like, oh my god, okay, so he's an opium head. I guess it was it opium that he was
opium addict. That's what I thought. Yeah, and what was the other one? Laudanum.
And there were cases to, ghosts aside, her behavior. There were arguments for her having, I don't know about serious mental issues. She was a bit of a control freak.
A little OCD, maybe?
A little OCD.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
We start off with the kid who is, I guess you think he's sleepwalking. Spoilers. We're going to spoil a lot in talking about this. So if you don't want to spoil, go watch the Winchester.
Go watch it first and then come back and watch us.
I got kids. This was
actually, you know what it was? I thought it was very good for a horror film too, because there's like no nudity, there's like no language. I think they may have said like the D word once or twice.
Yeah,
I mean, for a horror movie, very not.
No gore.
Yeah. Creepiness, definitely creepiness.
Creepy. I'll give you that. It's great for that age range.
Yeah.
So we start off with something that I feel is kind of a trope with little possessed boy walking around being creepy.
They do come from somewhere, though. I mean, there's a reason that they're a trope.
Okay. Possessed and weird, strangely acting kids are definitely a trope.
Well, psychologically, though, if you look at it, the kids are generally more open to that because their minds are still fresh. They haven't been jaded and everything like the adults. So if somebody's going to be possessed in your family, it's probably going to be a kid. I mean, seriously, like if some monster tried to come attack me, I'd be like, whatever. Yeah. But, you know, my little son, he'd be like, oh, okay.
You don't even want in here.
Right? So, anyway. You said this was psychology of horror, so there we go. Psychologically.
Indeed. I'll give you that.
Okay.
There's something very traumatic about watching the kid go bananas when he eventually does.
Yeah, he like totally tries to attack his grandma.
Yeah,
that was creepy.
The first things we see is just kind of odd behavior, and then we realize that he is being controlled, and then he does kind of go off the rails, and that was a very creepy scene to watch. And I think anytime you watch something where somebody who is supposed to love another person just starts acting violent toward them, it's kind of disturbing. Let's see. I'm trying to remember some of the elements that stood out. You got anything come to mind that seemed like very different from any other movie?
I mean, it was a lot of the same features that you're going to see in other movies, but I liked the way that they put them together. Like, with the jump scare things, he would be doing something and all of a sudden something creepy is there and then it's like gone a split second later. So if you're not paying attention, like I kind of was a little bit last night, I had to rewind. I was like, wait, what happened? Because it happens just like that, but it's also very visual. And I really like the whole visual things. If somebody gets stabbed and they're dying, okay, whatever. But when you get this creepy monsters with the teeth and that's really what gets to me. I'm a very visual person. I watched Carrie when I was a little kid. I had dreams about that blood for years, Anyway, so a lot of the same stuff with the creepy visuals, very dark when we're inside the house. A little bit of a difference between when he's looking at the house from the outside. Because from the outside, it just kind of looks like a big mansion. Maybe a little strange, but it mostly looks like a Victorian mansion, what you would expect. But then once you go inside and see all these weird rooms, some of them are sealed off. She's got the boards across it with 13 nails in it. Of course, that's the special number. Also, I think, like I said, I like the backstory. Knowing why the doctor is the way he is, why Sarah is the way she is, even the little boy and the aunt, or the mother, not aunt, sorry. So it kind of tells us, I don't know, it makes it more real to me. Like it really could happen. Because some of these other ones, you're like, yeah, that's never really going to happen.
Well, that's actually what went through my head is that when I'm watching, I felt like some things felt kind of forced. And then to learn that, okay, no, these certain elements did happen. Okay, well, now I can accept it. No, okay.
Well, I mean, they do say at the beginning it's based on a true story, but and that's also what makes it so fanciful. It's kind of like, really? Holy crap, this is
based on
real?
A true story I took as there is a house.
Oh.
That was
Yeah,
like
I know,
that.
because a lot of times based on a true story, they like go.
And I did
way-
not do my homework this time, so I thought maybe it was somebody who just wanted attention.
No, I didn't actually do my homework yet. I just, like I said, knew about it from my childhood, from
Basically,
reading
because
about
you're
her.
smarter than I am.
Well, I wasn't going to say it. I like to read, okay? But I was looking up more about her on the way over, not that I was on my phone and driving at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Well, I'm glad you made it here alive. The scariest thing about this movie watching was the fact that she was on her phone the whole way over here. To
No, I'm just kidding. I voice typed in Sarah Winchester to Google, and just pulled that up. That's all I did, okay? Anyway, okay, so more about the movie. Psychologically, okay, the reason that he can see these ghosts is because he came back from death.
Right.
Like he was shot by his wife.
That was a moment that I had to rewind because I went
Yeah.
to get a drink and then it's like, you were dead. And I'm like, wait, I came running back in and I was like, are they pulling a Sixth Sense?
Right?
Like he's dead now?
No. He had
No.
been dead, yeah. So and that makes sense. I've heard stuff about that too. Once you passed on and come back, you get
Extra
more
sensory.
powers. Yeah, there you go. Extrasensory stuff. Power sounds like
You're
Marvel.
an X-Man
Anyway,
now.
yeah.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So that was really cool because it made sense to me that somebody who had been there could see this more and could interact with them more. I mean, like he was sitting there talking to the Ben. Was that his name? Ben Block, the
Yes,
bad kid.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, he was sitting there talking to the bad kid who was actually dead and a demon sort of thing, without even knowing because he was so open to that he didn't have to get like in a trance like she did. She sits in that room and she's got her veil over her face and she's doing this kind of thing, to get in touch with the spirits, where he just thinks they're normal people.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Ben. He had anger issues.
He had anger issues, yeah.
Unresolved.
I do. I mean, and I kind of feel sorry for him. I mean, the whole reason he got so evil, I guess, is because his two brothers, the only two siblings, I guess, that he had, were killed in the Civil War by the Winchester guns. And so then, he took it out on the Union Army, I guess. And then eventually got himself killed and everything too. So yeah, it really was anger issues, but it still doesn't excuse it. It's like, I feel sorry for him. It's kind of like the whole Joker movie. It's like, oh, I feel sorry for the Joker. He had such a crappy life. But he still doesn't get to go around murdering everybody.
No, of course not.
So it's the same kind of thing
But
with
they
him.
did humanize, instead of it just being like there's a bad guy demon that just wants to eat your soul, it gave some, I won't say it made it more realistic, but it did made it where it made it so that you could, see, this is where I start losing words.
You
that
can
I know.
understand it. You can relate to him.
Relate.
There you go. Yeah, you can relate.
Relate.
We all have anger issues. I've lost my temper with my kids before and done stuff I probably shouldn't have done. Nothing illegal, don't worry. But for him to take it and just internalize it so much that he turns into like the worst spirit in the house. Because did you notice that all the other bad spirits came out to help her get rid of him?
That was...
I love that. Because I'm like, these people, she didn't really say that they were necessarily evil spirits, but that they didn't want to move on and they were still angry kind of thing.
My biggest issue that was when it was all over, she sent them to their room.
But they also started
And
to come back out at the
went.
end. Because they understood. I like that. See, psychologically, that makes a lot of sense. That's what I'm saying. They came out knowing that this guy was going to ruin their chances to do anything that they wanted to do, whether it was stay in the world or to move on. Because if he killed Sarah Winchester, they would just be lost, like kind of in a limbo sort of
Did
thing.
they make their way out, or did he release them to wreak havoc?
I think they made their own way out. Yeah, all the nails popped out on their own.
Watch. My impression was that he was going through releasing everything, so it would just be complete chaos. It's like in Ghostbusters.
Oh, you mean like Ben was doing it?
Yeah, Ben was doing it.
It's possible, but to me it seemed more like they were helping more. Not that he released them, but they said, okay, this guy is going to ruin everything.
Mm-hmm.
We need to help her. I mean, and you see them all standing around Dr. Price, and then the slave guy gives him the nails, so that he can go upstairs and seal Ben in the room. So I really liked that, thinking, okay, these guys understand. This one has to leave. This can't be here. We need to get him to move on, because otherwise they're screwing up what we're trying to do, which is either still maybe get back at somebody or just finally come to peace. Because if you looked at those spirits, they weren't They weren't like evil people.
Yeah,
it was like a couple women.
They didn't do the monster. Chief. They didn't do the monster makeup.
Yeah.
So they were.
They
just
looked
souls.
like they were. They looked like lost souls. And then at the end, they did go back to their rooms because I think that maybe they were finally like, okay, good, he's gone. Let's go back, finish doing what we're doing. You know, don't you do that sometimes? After everything's done, it's like, I am going to my room. So they went back, but then at the very end, you also see one of the nails start to pop out.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so maybe that one's like, it's my turn.
That was the most confusing thing for me. It's like, well, they went back in. Why would they come? I don't know. This set up for a sequel.
I mean, it could be, but it also just, it's the way the human mind works. We band together against a common enemy, right? But then once we're done, we go back to our own separate sides and just start fighting again. It happens all the time throughout history.
I like that concept of, finding another thing to fight about, even though we've come together on something else.
Right. I mean, it happened in the Native American tribes all the time. At first they were just fighting against each other, and then the white guys came. Okay, let's band together and kill all these white dudes. Once they got them to leave, or they had to leave themselves, then they started fighting amongst themselves again. Because you lose that common enemy.
Right.
And I think part of it, too, is that nobody is really evil. Even the evilest of these spirits really wasn't evil. He was just a poor kid who was lost and misled and angry.
Yeah, and anger can just eat you up and
It can.
take over and redefine you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that we didn't see this together. Because we had such different views on what was going on, and it's actually causing me to go. Thankfully I've got like a rental where I have 48 hours, so I can go back and watch it.
Oh, it's free on Netflix.
What? Well, I didn't have Netflix.
Oh, okay, it's free on Netflix, y'all.
So worth a watch.
Yeah, and it definitely has a plot.
Especially if you're younger, and there are a lot of horror movies out there that you can't watch because of the rating and the content. This is definitely check it out.
And it's going to make you look over your shoulder too, because all the time, like he's in a room and he hears something, and it's like, or he moves the mirror and there's something behind it, or he's walking in the hallway and hears this noise.
The looking in the mirror, and
when I was like,
Ben posing as one of the house workers, where he's actually in a shot with other people, so you assume that they know he's there too.
Yeah, but there's no indication that.
But there's no indication, right? It was a Sixth Sense moment where he's just
a little bit, yeah.
And our doctor
Price. Dr. Price
can actually interact with him, but nobody else actually pays attention to him until Ben leads him into the stairway that goes nowhere.
And I think it was Ben that he was looking at when he wanted the alcohol at dinner, wasn't it? He was standing by the goblet or decanter, and he's like, nodding like, here, put some in my cup, and the boy just kind of looks at him and then looks away. But then later you see the old man pouring out some whiskey or bourbon or whatever it was. So
my God.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's
it was an Easter egg that I hadn't seen.
Like he never spoke, and nobody else acted like he was there.
Anything.
Never touched anything. Yeah. But,
awesome.
Yeah. He said psychology of horror. I was looking at it from a psychology point of view.
You did a much better job at it, because I was just like.
I don't know. I think most horror films that are actual, that have plots, you can do that in. Because then you get ones like Saw. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's really creepy to have to cut off your own arm to save your life and everything. But it's also not, there's not much more of a plot than that.
Yeah.
But I really liked Escape Room.
I was discussing, I don't know who I was talking to yesterday, where we talked, it was Wes. We just discussed how too many movies have gone down that extreme gore. And that was this decade's mistake, is going down that route. And hopefully we come out with more story-driven drama. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you watching the movie and then coming all the way out to discuss it.
No problem.
Thank you.
It was fun. Now you got to watch it again.
I do. All right. You guys watch it too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.